Hi guys, I am back. I have a little bit of free time to talk about my truck now. The last thing we showed on YouTube was me getting very frustrated with a Smarty tuner. I'm sick and tired of all this electronics, and electronics are really stupid. That was quite a few months ago, so I'm gonna give you guys an update right now. In one of the last videos of the truck, you might have seen that we had a 12 valve motor that we picked up. What we did with that motor was we did not swap the motor. I actually got a decent deal, I thought, on the motor, and we just use it for the pump. So I have a T-pump on my 24 valve. Lots of you guys were able to figure this out on the cold start video. Let me just hop up here, maybe. A little bit easier for me. Obviously, this is the 24 valve motor that was in the truck. It was rebuilt when it was swapped, so this is a pretty healthy 24 valve that only uses a little bit of coolant, unfortunately. But this is the P pump. It is off of a 94, and I can't remember if that means it's a 140 or a 160 pump. It's a stock pump, but I forget what I don't know, I'm just having a brain fart, but basically let's say the plungers were upgraded. I don't know if that is even the right word, but it's moving more fuel than obviously than a stock pump. My fast is still set at 15 PSI because I'm told that the stock overflow in these P pumps is set at 15 PSI. It makes just as much horsepower, if not more, as it did the way it is, so I might just leave it. Also, they upgraded my timing, my pump timing. I had 22 degrees, but there was far too much black smoke. It's now at 24 degrees, and it basically is everything the same but less smoke. So that's a good thing. I am trying to help Greta out.
How dare you!
So I'm not a master mechanic. So I had a local shop do the P-pump swap. I got all the parts for a pretty good deal, so it was reasonable. It would have been about the same to swap in that 12 valve motor, plus it doesn't have head studs, so I decided to go this route. You do want to get, if someone's planning on doing this, you do need a whole 12 valve motor because you need the front cover and I believe a couple other small things from a 12 valve motor to make this work. But I'm happy with it the way it is. So you may also remember that the transmission worked, like you could say, good enough, but I was never happy with it. So this is basically old technology. When people first started doing the Fummins swaps, they were using this, but it's really hard. There's like a big delay between gears, so you can never really step on it properly and stuff. So these are really finicky. So what the standard is now is to use an SCT tuner for that, and so far it's been a lot better. I would still like to get a different torque converter eventually because it doesn't lock up as early as I'd like it. Obviously, Fummins makes torque at a lower RPM than the 6.4, so this torque converter is not ideal. You don't notice it driving empty, but you do notice it when you're towing, which I've been doing a little more of lately. So yeah, I highly recommend going that route if you're going to tune your transmission. So also sometime through the summer, I had track bars powder coated and installed. As you can see, the yellow bar, that is actually cat yellow. I eventually plan on putting cat, either paint my fast filters or I can just get the cat part number filter, because this color blue and cat yellow I think really match well. So those are actually a really good deal. We usually don't talk prices here, but for 550 bucks, powder coated and installed, it's a pretty good deal. And I haven't had any bouncing rear axle or anything since, so it's good. Another big thing that was done was this truck. I originally thought it had 410s in it. That's just what I assumed. it actually had 433s. I believe that was the ratio. It's the highest ratio you could get in an F350. So obviously that wasn't ideal for a Cummins motor. On the highway, on average, like at highway speed is about 2200 RPM, which is obviously higher than you'd like to run a 5.9 for a prolonged period of time. You don't want to be in that RPM range. So I thought, okay, either I can go with 410s or 373s. The price really wasn't any difference. This truck is between 350 and 400 horsepower, so I said, oh, let's go 373s. I don't tow all the time, so that's what we went with. So I got 373s, obviously in both axles, from Dana, and I'm hoping it's going to pay itself off with fuel, because obviously that's a big ratio difference. Now I'm running like 1900, 2000 at a faster highway speed where I'd like to drive at. So I had at least a 200-300 RPM drop at a highway speed, which is really nice. Highly recommend that. Obviously I believe this truck was probably purchased in a fleet, so it was probably pulling a heavy trailer in its early life as a 6.4. So a 433 makes sense, but probably 75-80% of the time I'm not pulling a trailer. So 373s make sense for me, and I highly recommend it. No issues so far. I didn't film fuel economy with the 433s, but from what I can remember, I might make a video comparing the differences now and then. I also believe that the pump timing that I have at 24 degrees increased my fuel economy as well, so I do recommend that. And yeah, the truck's been good. So obviously quite a bit was done since our last video. Unfortunately, we don't have time to make videos all the time. It's winter now. We got a little bit more of a free schedule. There's some little things we're going to do to the truck to spruce it up a bit, so stay tuned for that. And if you have any recommendations for us, leave it in the comments below. See y'all next time.